press reports suggesting that Israel had approached Juba about possibly housing Gazans, an initiative that South Sudan called baseless and entirely at odds with its official policy. South Sudan's foreign minister Monday, Semenya Kumba, met with Israeli foreign minister on Monday. Semenya Kumba met, as I said, with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Tel Aviv. A visit is now scrutinized in light of these mounting allegations. Well, joining us now is Duku Wilson, who's Channel Africa's correspondent in Juba and South Sudan for the latest on this developing story. Duku, thanks very much for joining us and welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Peter.
So walk us through South Sudan's official response to these resettlement reports, and what tone and wording did the foreign ministry actually use?
Thank you once again, Peter. Of course, the wording and maybe the feeling of the letter that was presented yesterday was not really in a good manner. Of course, it was so strong, and it's like even it is frustrated that maybe this information has come out.
So I guess now people are looking at this Foreign Minister Kumba's recent visit to Israel in a new light, given these denials. Was any related cooperation or memorandum of understanding signed between the two countries?
Well, as he visited Israel last month, the foreign minister met with several officials, I understand, including the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. Of course, the alleged information about the discussion on the repatriation of Palestinians from Gaza to South Sudan, it has never surfaced anywhere during his meetings, until even when he came back to South Sudan, he made an official statement upon arrival at the airport, but he did not mention anything about discussion on the Palestinians to be resettled in South Sudan. So it took everybody by shock that the Associated Press released this information to the public, and everybody was really concerned about this.
Do we know where these reports are actually coming from? I mean, what do we know about the sources, and are there indicators that they're credible or just speculation?
Well, based on past experiences, you remember there was this issue of the deployment of the Ugandan troops in South Sudan, of which previously the government denied. It denied that there's no presence of Ugandan soldiers in South Sudan land. But however, everybody noticed and they have seen with their own eyes that there was a presence of the Ugandan soldiers. And at the end, the government had to accept later on that it is true they have a cooperation with the Ugandan soldiers, just because it is the CDF, the Chief of Defense Forces of the Ugandan Army, posting on his Twitter or X profile that they are in South Sudan to protect their brother Salva Kiir. And this one, it was just confusing. The CDF was saying that they are in South Sudan, and the government saying these people are not here. So based on these past experiences, everybody has a doubt whether really the denial that there was no discussion is really true.
All right, so given South Sudan's fragile post-independent context, ongoing internal conflict, economic instability, and reliance on aid, I mean, could South Sudan realistically actually even host refugees at this time?
Well, South Sudan at the moment is battling its own problems. almost an entire population is really having issues with the food. The economy itself is not really favoring people. Majority of them are not really able to feed themselves because the economy, the prices are very high. So given now that there's another additional problem from Palestinians to be resettled in South Sudan, I really doubt if South Sudan is able to really take care of these people.
What do South Sudan and Israel have in common? I mean, what is the relationship between these two nations?
Well, according to diplomatic ties, they have that minimal kind of relationship. But Israel is a friend to the United States, and based on the sketchy or the bad relationship between South Sudan and the United States. You remember there was a total ban on visas for all South Sudanese passport holders. There was also the U.S. have accused the South Sudan of corruption, of human rights violation, a number of issues that the United States have about South Sudan. So this has made the relationship between South Sudan and the United States very bad. And also the issue of sanctions. There are some individuals that are key in the country. They have been sanctioned by the United States, including the armed embargo on South Sudan. All these kind of things, they are trying to use the friends that are of United States to make sure that they reach out to United States so that the United States can reconsider its position on South Sudan. Of course, South Sudan is really desperate to reconnect and rebuild that relationship with the United States.
I think you might have partially answered this question earlier.
Peter?
Yeah, I think you might have partially answered this question earlier, but what's the reaction inside Sudan? Civil society, citizens in general, politicians, maybe opposition figures. What are they saying about this alleged agreement?
Well, there's a mixed reaction. Yeah, from civil society, of course, they said in the beginning that this is not really acceptable. We have our own problems, and the government now is involving in discussion with resettling other people, while even we have our internal displaced persons that they have been in the camps for years, and the government is not willing or ready or has the capacity to resettle these people. How could the government really go ahead and resettle people from other country when it has failed to resettle its own citizens? After when the foreign ministry issued that statement, they welcomed the statement. Of course, they are saying that the government should be transparent in handling some of the issues of the country. While the citizens themselves, they are divided. Their reactions are so divided. Of course, there are citizens that are pro-government initiatives. There are those ones that are against the initiatives of the government. Those who are against the initiatives are saying that this is like selling the independence of South Sudan that was hardly wanted by millions who really gave in their lives for this country to be independent. And now the government is doing these kind of things that are really going contrary with the policies and
all right, Duku, we're gonna.
While those who are pro, yes.
All right, Duku, we're gonna have to leave it there. Thank you so much indeed for that update. I mean, it is one of those kinds of stories that one just doesn't know whether to believe it or not, and we'll certainly be following up a little bit more as maybe more concrete details start to surface. But that was Duku Wilson, our correspondent in South Sudan, giving us his thoughts on this alleged agreement between Israel and South Sudan to resettle Gazans. So you'll know that Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, effectively is talking about taking over Gaza. That's his mission at the moment. And once Palestinians out of Gaza, we'll have to wait and see how this story plays out. It's 7:30, which means it's time for you.